Very good evening and thank you for tuning in. You're watching live and breaking at 5:30. I'm Suesha Sawant and our top focus this minute is the Israel-Hamas conflict. Israel carried out more airstrikes on residential areas in Gaza. This is in its efforts to target Hamas terrorists. The war that began on the 7th of October has become the deadliest of the 5 Gaza wars for both sides now. More than 1,400 Israelis have been killed and at least 199 others that include children were captured by the Hamas and taken into Gaza. Our team has been there on the front line. Our correspondent Alicia Nair is joining us live from Kibbutz Be'eri as she will give us the very latest on how exactly is the conflict panning out on the 11th day. Cutting across to you, Alicia, directly, what is it like on the ground?
Well, yes, Suesha, Republic is reporting from Israel, Be'eri Kibbutz, where more than 120 people were killed, where the Hamas terrorist on Saturday has entered the Be'eri. This was the first location where Hamas terrorist has entered into, and there were many of the house that was also destroyed. They took a shelter of the children as well as of the women. Many of the women and the children were also been dragged in. But what we have been witnessing now, because at first it was the entire area that was taken up by the Hamas terrorists, but now it is under being controlled by the IDF. As you can see, there are Merkavas and there are tanks, BMPs tanks, which is being placed here. We are just going in and around to show you the visuals of the Israel Be'eri Kibbutz, where now there are IDF officials who are also been there. I'll just ask my video journalist Sundar Shah to show you the visuals in and around what is really happening, because if we talk about the Be'eri, well, yes, there were more than 120 people were killed. There were also children who were killed. They burned many of the houses, and the story of Be'eri is we know that the Hamas terrorists who came, they burned many of the houses, and then they were waiting for the people to come out of their house, and they directly had an open fire. So this is the story of the Be'eri where we have been reporting from. But now the entire area is being taken away, has been taken over by the IDF. There are BMP tanks, what we see on your screen. There are Merkava tanks which is being placed here. Till now, the place is being called as a very sensitive place. As we have been speaking, we can also hear the explosion that has been happening. But this is in retaliation by the Israel. It's an IDF who've been retaliating with the Merkavas, with the artillery tanks and the BMP, which has also been placed here. So we have been reporting from Be'eri, and we also spoke to the colonel who has given the information about it, that Hamas has come to this location, and as you hear, there are artilleries on your screen. As you see, there are artillery that is being fired towards the Gaza city. As we have been reporting, very close to the Gaza border, and of course there were ultimatum that was given to the people, asking them to evacuate themselves to a safer place from the northern to the southern side of Gaza. But now it's Israel time who is going to take all the revenge of the attack that was done by the Hamas on the last Saturday. So as you see on your screen, there are continuously artillery that is being fired. There are Merkava which has been fired. There are rocket which has been fired towards the Gaza city. And the numbers we know, it's more than now 2,500 people have been killed in Gaza. There are the Hamas terrorists who have been killed, and IDF is constantly making that effort as far as the intelligence head or the aerial survey system head is concerned. So they have been making a constant airstrike as well as the attack that has been done. And we told about the story, but yes, it's an IDF who's constantly striking towards the Gaza city. This is after the ultimatum that was given to the people to evacuate from the northern to the southern side.
Alicia, civilians have been at the suffering end, and it is really on both sides. In the last 10 days, the kind of horror stories that have emerged have completely shamed humanity, and Israel has made it amply clear that the Hamas started it, they will end it. You clearly see that on the ground with the way their military is advancing towards all those areas and pinning down their men one by one. And avenging what has happened, but still so many of those civilians and women and children included who are still hostages with the Hamas, and many who've lost their lives, hospitals that are running out as they're not being able to accommodate those who are injured, and even with the way their bodies are lined up. What more have you observed from yesterday to today?
Well, yes, Suesha, there were many of the people, and as we know, since the ultimatum that was given by Israel, after which there were raids also been conducted, and many of the people, the dead bodies has been discovered as far as the people who were missing since the attack of the Hamas is concerned. But what we see right now, it's Israel everywhere now, because Israel has taken over all the places, all the area which was taken up and that was taken up by Hamas terrorists. One of this is where we have been standing and reporting from. This is Israel's Be'eri Kibbutz, and it was a massacre that happened where Hamas terrorists who entered to Be'eri Kibbutz, and there were many of the people have been killed. It's been told that it was more than 120 people have been killed in a day, and what we have been witnessing now is a retaliation of the attack that was done by Hamas. Now the Israel has been constantly firing artilleries and also been firing rockets from the Be'eri, and this is like very close to because as we see to the other side is the Gaza city, the northern side of the Gaza, where the Hamas terrorists are still hiding behind the children. Well, yes, there is no hostages is what been told as per the official statement that has been given. But talking about the Be'eri, well, yes, there were more than 120 people were killed. Many of the houses were burned. Not only this, but the Hamas terrorists tried to take a shield of a woman as well as the children, and the strategy what they have been planning to, it was they were burning the houses of the people, and once the people are out of their house, they were constantly making a fire, continuous firing which was ongoing. But now what we see, the area has been taken back by the Israel, and this is after the statement that we are also been hearing since the day one, as far as the statement of the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has clearly mentioned the war that has been started by the Hamas terrorists is going to be ended by Israel. Not only this, but they have clearly mentioned that Hamas are like ISIS and they have to be treated like one. And that is what now Israel has been saying. The pictures on your screen, I'll just ask my video journalist to show you in and around picture of Be'eri, where there are Markava tanks, there are BMP tanks, there are small tanks and the other trucks which has also been mentioned. There are IDF forces who are also been present at this location, and it is a clear message to Hamas terrorists that the war that they thought that they are going to win, that they have started the war, and now it's Israel who is going to give a retaliation and give an answer to the Hamas terrorists. Well, yes, the figures that has come from the officials, it's like now more than 2,500 people have been killed on the other side, that is to the Gaza side. But yes, we know that Israel has been constantly making a proper strategy, and the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been also having a meeting where they have been chalking out all the plans as far as the Gaza city has been concerned. But there are more people who have been taken away, but there are more civilians who they have been still there at the southern side of Gaza, and they have not been able to come to the safer side. And this is after the Hamas terrorists want to take a shield of the people, and that is what we have been hearing since the day one. But Israel has been making it very much clear that the civilians are not the target. It's just a people, it's just a Hamas terrorist who have been is just an Hamas terrorist who are there into the target, which is why all the defense equipment have been brought. It's an advanced technology tank which has been brought in to finish the Hamas terrorists, and this made it very much clear. They made it very much clear that this time they are going to finish Hamas. It's just they will continue. They will finish this war, is what the statement that has been given. We'll just move to another location as well and just show you the visuals in and around of the Be'eri, what is really happening, because it's about the people who were staying there, who were having their life. but it has completely been destroyed. The people they were very happy is what the people says here. They used to stay here, but their house were completely burned. It was completely destroyed, and now it was also been taken away from the Hamas terrorists. But now the Israel Defense Forces, who has already been reached, and now they have taken over all the. I'll just ask my video journalist Sundar Shah to show you the visuals of the Israeli taken over the complete area now, which was earlier occupied, which was taken over by the Hamas terrorists. And we have also been moving forward to show you the real pictures, what was the condition of the people and the houses that were destroyed by the Hamas terrorists when they enter the Be'eri, which is Israel Kibbutz. And we say that many houses, as I mentioned, many houses were destroyed, and many of the children were abducted. Not only this, many of the people were abducted. Many people have been killed. They were abducted and taken towards the Gaza city so that Hamas terrorists can use it. But as you see the movement here, there are BMP tanks, there are trucks, and the IDF forces which has been moving towards the Gaza. This is a clear message that has been given to the Gaza, that even if the war that was started by them is going to be finished by Israel, and this is the clear picture as you see from the Israel Be'eri, which is the most affected area, is what we know is the most affected city as we know. And we have been also moving towards the Be'eri inside. As we see, there are officials, there are forces who have been moving towards the inside, and this is also the training camp as well, because it was very important for the IDF to take back the area which was occupied by Hamas terrorists, because it was really affecting the people there, the children there, the people who were living their life, the people who were staying with their family has been completely destroyed. And it was Hamas terrorists who had burned many of the houses, and they have killed many of the people there, also abducted children. So I think it is something, a restricted area is what we have been told. But yes, as we have been witnessing, there are trucks and trunks which has been coming out and been moving towards. It's since days we have been witnessing that there are Markava tanks, and there are other tanks, BMPs, which has been moving forward towards the Gaza city. And I'll just ask my video journalist Sundar Shah to just come forward and just show you the round pictures here, because now the entire area has been taken away, and we have been showing you the visuals from the Israel Be'eri Kibbutz. Yes, Vesha.
Alicia, I also want to ask you about Joe Biden's visit to Israel, because he is visiting Israel at this very critical moment, as has been slated. Also, he is, of course, there to put out that message for the complete support and solidarity that he extends to Israel, but is also slated to meet with the head of the Palestine Authority. In that sense, how is this visit likely to impact the ongoing conflict individually on both sides?
Well, yes, Suesha, as we know that the US President Joe Biden, who is going to visit Israel tomorrow, that is on Wednesday, and he is likely to meet also Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and it is something very important to see how this meeting goes, because Netanyahu has already spoke to Biden thrice, and they have been constantly having a discussion as far as the defense aid is concerned. So how does this meeting goes is something we know, but yes, it's a US President Joe Biden who will travel to Israel and is expected to meet Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, because we heard Antony Blinken who clearly mentioned that and cleared that Israel has the right and the duty to defend its people from Hamas and the other terrorists to prevent future attacks. And this comes after around 2,000 US troops will be ready to deploy within 24 hours. So as a humanitarian situation in Gaza getting worsened, it's Blinken who said that the US and Israel had agreed to develop a plan to enable humanitarian aid to reach civilian. So it's also very important to see how the civilians will be, because as we know, there are still many civilians. There are people who wanted to shift to and evacuate to a safer place, that is towards the southern side of Gaza, but they are not being able to, because the only strategy where the Hamas terrorists has been working through is only with the hostages. They are just hiding behind the human shield, which is why there are many Palestinians who wanted to shift to the northern side, but they are not been allowed to. So that is where the Israel forces has been trying to evacuate people who have been stuck there, and they are not been able to come back. So it's Israel making a constant plan of those people who wanted to come back, and they wanted to get evacuated, but they are forced to be with the Hamas terrorists so that the Hamas can hide behind the human shield. But as far as this Berry is concerned, as we have been talking constantly about it, it's a very sensitive place, and as we speak, there are also missiles that has been fired towards the Gaza. So it's in retaliation after the attack of the Hamas terrorist. And what we see, there are BMP tanks which is moving forward towards the Gaza. The first visuals on your screen, as Republic is the only channel who have been reporting from Berry, Israel's Kibbutz, where the people were killed, the children were abducted, the people were abducted, their house were completely destroyed, it was burned. And as we spoke to the colonel, he narrates the entire story, clearly saying that Berry has been the worst affected area as far as the Hamas terrorist who entered to the Berry Israel kibbutz, and they just entered the house of the people. They burned the entire house, and when the people are out, they were just waiting for people to come out so that they can open fire. So that has also been happened here, and the entire house has been destroyed. People's life has been destroyed. The life they were living has been completely destroyed. And now what we see, that that Israeli forces has been moving towards the Gaza. They are very much confident enough, and there are constant meetings that has been happening. We see the advanced technology which is moving towards the Gaza to destroy it completely. The attack that happened, from the Hamas in the beginning and the last Saturday is going to be finished by Israel from the day one, what we have been hearing. The statement that came in from the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, that we will dismantle Hamas. Hamas are the ISIS and they have to be treated like one. Not only this, but the attack that started by the Hamas terrorists is going to be end, and this visual shows the clear message to the Hamas terrorists that they have the equipment, the best technology of the world. They have the Merkavas, because Israel possesses around 600 Merkavas with 7.62 mm machine gun. Not only this, but 12.6 mm cannon, which holds known Merkavas to be the best technology of the world, which is on being with Israel now, and they are been constantly moving, because even yesterday where we were reporting from, we also saw the visuals of Merkavas as well as the tanks which was placed here. They are ready to move. They are just waiting for a final instruction, and the final instructions will only come because they want the people should be evacuated first. There are civilians who wanted to move back, who want to come to the safer place, but they are not been allowed to, and that is the only reason the Israel is not really going with the ground invention completely. But yes, what we have been witnessing, the tanks which has been moving forward, it's to the border as well. So many of the places and the many of the border checks has been completely restricted. There are no people have been allowed until unless from the forces, because now there is only permission for the forces who can move forward towards whether it is Israel, Egypt, Gaza border, or whether towards the Gaza city. Entire entry has been restricted for the people. But what we see right now on your screen, that it is the tanks and the Merkavas which is moving forward, and now it's a Berry, which is completely being taken away by the Israel forces. The first city which was badly affected, more than 120 people have been killed here. Their houses were burned, their houses were taken away. Many people have been taken to the another location, is what we know. They have been hidden, but Israel is just waiting for the final. Israel is just waiting for the final final call, and the call will come only after, is what we know, that after the civilians has been taken away. We'll just keep showing with the visuals on your screen. Surinder Shah has been showing with the visuals from the Be'eri Israel Kibbutz, where the IDF, we are the only channel who have been traveling with the IDF since the time we have been reporting from Israel, and we have been showing you constantly an advanced technology that was taken, that has been placed by Israel, because it is in Be'eri, as far as Be'eri is concerned, this community was attacked by Hamas people. Many people were killed and abducted, and it was Hamas plan. They wanted to do it from day one. So 10% of the community was murdered, and they dragged, killed, they shooted women. This was the situation. But yes, the reports were also received that regarding a shooting towards the town of Metula on the border of Lebanon, there are IDF forces who have been looking after and been constantly making an airstrike and constantly retaliating towards the attack of the Hamas. And also the information that we got, that IDF observation troop that has spotted a terrorist squad attempting to infiltrate the security fence with Lebanon and plant an explosive device. There were 4 terrorists were killed. So what we witness and what we know, that now the Israel has been completely ready with the force. There are more and more force which has been coming in. I'll just, my VJ Surinder Shah has been showing you the visuals, that there are more and more forces which has been coming in inside the Gaza city. We are just few kilometers away from the Gaza city, and we are with the IDF. Well, yes, the earlier picture that we saw, there are artilleries that has constantly been fired towards the Hamas, and there are more than 2,500 terrorists is what we know, the people that has been killed in the Hamas city.
All right, Alicia, we thank you for getting us all those details, and we have to slip into a very short commercial break right now. We'll keep coming back to you as you cover every part, and most importantly, the team that is capturing every movement of the IDF. We slip into a short commercial break right now.